Once upon a time, three brothers wanted to leave the farm and work in the city. Their names were Jim, Frank, and George. All the three of them left the city and got into the same company and had the same pay initially. 3 years later, Jim's pay was $500 per month. Frank's salary was $1,000 per month, and George's salary was $1,500 a month. Once their father got to know about this, he was very surprised because all three of them had the same qualification but still had different pays. So when he came to meet the employer, he discussed this problem with the employer. The employer said, "Sir, I will want all the three of your sons to answer this problem themselves." So he then summoned Jim and said to him, "There are a lot of Japanese import goods that the Far East importers have sent to us through the transport planes. Will you please go over to the airport and check the cargo inventory?" Jim agreed and went. 3 minutes later, he returned back and said, "Sir, there are 1,000 bowls of Japanese silk." And he then continued, "I got to know this from a person who was in the crew. He told me this over the telephone," and he left. He then called in Frank and told him to do the same work. He told him that the Japanese importers have sent a lot of goods in bulk amount and he wanted him to check how much cargo was there. And Frank returned after an hour and he said, "Sir, there are 1,000 bowls of Japanese silk, 500 transistor radios and 1,000 bamboo painted trays." And he then left. He then called in George, who had $1,500 as his monthly payment, and he said the identical work to George. George left and returned at the end of the working hours, which means he took the entire day. He came back and said, "Sir, there were 1,000 bowls of Japanese silk, and I got to know that they were selling each bolt at $60. I checked with another designer from New York and he sold the same silk at $75 per bolt. There were 500 transistor radios and I sold each transistor radio with a profit of $2.30. And then there were 1,000 hand-painted bamboo trays, which were not of very good quality, so I didn't know what to do with them." And George left. The employer then said to his son's father, "Sir, did you see the difference between the answers that your three sons gave? George did not meet my expectations, whereas Frank said only what he was told to do. And then there is George. He just went beyond my expectations, and that is what he always does." And that is when the father got the answer to all of his queries that he had regarding his son's payments and everything that they were doing in this company. Many times in life, most of us are like Frank and some of us are like Jim. How are we like Frank? Because we always wait to be told to do what we have to do and only do that much. We don't add any extra value. But some of us are like Jim. We don't even do what we are told to do because we are lazy or we're not interested in it or we don't feel like doing it. But then there are some people in the world who are like George, who always cross the expectations that people have. And that is why people like George have a higher pay than normal. People get paid based on the amount of value they add to others. If we only do what we are told to do, we will be paid $1,000. If we do not even what we are supposed to do, then we will be paid like Jim. But if we do more than what we are told to do, then we will be paid the way George is paid. Not only in terms of money, in the respect, in the amount of fame and power and whatever it is in life. Let's go ahead in life and learn to live our lives and add value to people like the way George did towards his company, so that we can all give people the happiness and satisfaction that they want to receive and more, so that we also have an internal satisfaction that we did great work in whatever we do. Thank you.